Good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Drunk Book Reviews. Tonight we're going to be talking about one of my favorite authors from across the pond, Tana French. If you've not heard of her, then you have some catching up to do, because she's written some pretty amazing books. First of all, I'd just like to throw a shout out to my high school history teacher, Miss Alexis Fafides. She is amazing, and while I did graduate from high school many moons ago, she's the one that got me hip to Miss Tana French, and for that, a thank you. So, Tana French, she's Irish, she's dark, and very murdery, and really cool. So if you like a good plot twist, and I do, and I'm going to guess that you do too, she's like the queen of the murdery plot twist. Every book, every single one. You totally think you know who has done the deed, like the whole way through. You're like, I know who did it. No, wait, it wasn't them, it was this person, but you don't. Like, not until the very last few pages do you even understand, like, what is going on. So, In the Woods. I recommend this book to a lot of people, especially if you are a spooky bitch like me. It's a good place to start. While this is a series, the Dublin Murder Squad, you really don't have to read it in order because, like, she introduces people in this one, and one of them goes off to the next one, who goes off to the next one, and, like, they're standalone, sorta, but related. Kind of like my family. Anyway, so In the Woods. We're going to start off with, like, a crazy murder scene. Little girl has been murdered. And quite honestly, like, some of the people that I've recommended this book to could not get past the first chapter simply based on the fact that it was a kid. And I totally get that. However, like I mentioned about 1,000 times, I'm quite a spooky bitch. These things don't bother me. So anyway, there's a dead girl. They find her, of all places, on a sacrificial stone. Can you say Aslan? Really? So I'm sorry. I just hold a lot of undealt with pain as far as Aslan and his whole murder goes. Whatever. That's for another a story. So anyway, yes, this dead girl has been beaten with a rock and left out in the middle of this field. So there's this architectural dig thing going on. This is in Ireland. I think I mentioned that. Yep. So they find her. And it has been handed to these two murder detectives, Cassie and Rob. So, they're pretty interesting characters, old Cassie and Rob, and they go a long way to leading you to believe that they're totally just platonic friends through the first few chapters of this book. Right, so anyway, they find the girl, Katie Devlin. Right, and also they find a little strawberry hair clip near her. So they're interviewing everybody, like all these kids that are working on this dig, and this dig is like this whole thing, right? It's like this, I mean, I'm not like super familiar with the ways of Ireland, but anyway, they've got a month left to dig this land, and then it's being taken over for a highway that, like, nobody's really happy about, so probably not that different from the U.S. when it comes to that. So they're trying to interview everybody that was on this dig, and there's like all these kids, and they have all these fucked up stories, and like, who do you believe, right? And there's these sheds with all these fines and things in it. So yeah. So they're trying to work it all out. Meanwhile, Rob and Cassie are hanging out a lot, and let me just tell you, these motherfuckers are drinkers, okay? Like, probably not a big surprise, because Irish people can fucking drink, dude. Yes, they can. And this is, like, something probably to be proud of. But anyway, so throughout the book, there's lots of drinking. I just want you to be aware of that. All right, so they are trying to solve this mystery. There's so many weirdos that are involved in this, like people that are like, you know, they're not telling the truth, so they're interviewing everybody, and like the family of this girl, like, they're crazy. They live in this estate, and meanwhile, you need to know that Rob and his friends 20 years before were like abducted and like came out of these same woods with like bloody t-shirts and all kinds of weirdness, and like Rob, who has major issues, is like working his way through this at the same time, and like, is it related? Like, was the thing 20 years ago the same as like the thing now with this kid? Because like he's got all these memories that he's like been, you know, repressing for all these years, and then he realizes that maybe like the dad of the girl is involved. And anyway, so they're interviewing everybody, and like they don't believe anybody. And all right, so the girl has a sister. Well, she actually has a lot of sisters who are all named after Shakespearean characters, weirdly enough. But she has a twin who's like not right, a little crazy. And she has an older sister, Rosalind, who is totally crazy. But like, you don't know it. Like right at the beginning, like you think maybe like she's weird, but yeah, bitch is crazy. So anyway, they're trying to solve this. They're interviewing everybody. Crazy family, crazy family. They've got this other kid who works with them, this other detective called Sam, who's like this goody-goody two-shoes, like young kid, just got into the murder squad. And, you know, his uncle is like a politician, and they're like hoping to get him on the case with his uncle. They can get like an in and find out this whole thing with the dig and the highway. Blah, yeah. So anyway, Rob and Cassie dealing with it. There's a lot of Vespas happening and total drunken craziness. And Rob decides to spend the night in the woods because he feels like maybe this will bring him some answers, which is crazy. About the whole thing about him, and then this new girl who has, as they find out, like they interview, because she's a dancer, right? She was getting a scholarship for dancing, and they talked to her dancing teacher, and they find out like she's sick all the time, right? Like really sick. So she like is going to dancing school. She's not going to dancing school. And then they talk to the coroner and find out that she wasn't really sick. So like Munchausen by proxy much. Right. And so then like the family's all involved again. And so they talk to this crazy sister Rosalind, who gives them this clue about this mysterious man in a blue tracksuit. I don't want to give too much away, but anyway, so there's that. She's crazy. And then also Cassie starts having all these memories of like being in a situation with a janitor when she was a kid, and marbles, and like it's crazy. So you're like, where is this going? Where is this going? Where the fuck is this going? Back in the woods is where it's going. And there's a castle, there's this whole thing in the woods, and I'm just going to say this. If you've got a crazy older sister, just be careful. So that's it. I'm going to leave the rest to your imagination and tell you to go to your library right now and check out In the Woods by Tana French. It, like I said, is the first of the Murder Squad, Dublin Murder Squad series, but you don't have to start there unless you're like me and like you gotta always start with the first one. But I can promise you, you will not be disappointed in any of her books. They are all amazing. And even though you think you know what's going to happen, that's not what's going to happen. Good night. Cheers.